Welcome back to the Press Club, and thank you very much for staying tuned. Lisa, long discussion on jazz and also that Kim John and Francis Phillips story. Let's talk about another story. There were reports this week that Stanley Felix, Housing Minister and Urban Renewable Minister, had resigned or was contemplating resignation. And I spoke with him. He said that this is not the case, just political mischief, as he said to other media outlets as well. I mean, what do you make of the hoopla concerning that?
Well, I don't, well, the minister says it's political mischief. Who knows best what he was thinking, except him? Is there any proof that he had tendered his resignation, or certainly that he was about to tender his resignation? I don't know of the paper. I don't know of that paper trail existing. But usually where there's some smoke, there's always
fire. At least there's a cigarette.
There's something smoldering somewhere. And I don't know much about the situation, so I can't comment on it and give any form of opinion. I do believe that Stanley Felix has proven himself to be someone who is immersed in his ministry and is trying. If there was any thought of resignation, maybe it would have to do with some sort of personal reason or reasons for doing so. But the rumor mill has been busy.
Yeah, and I mean, there was something about him and interactions while he was in New York as well, and that this is not the first time these have emerged. It is just to determine whether any of this is factual or whether, you know, as he said, you know, it's political mischief and people just creating those stories so that it can force him into a position where he has to address them and probably withdraw from politics. So who knows? But I'm sure as a media practitioner, you'd be following up on that story and keeping close.
Into knowing exactly what the situation is, if he ever thought of resigning. And remember, there was the recent cabinet retreat.
Right.
For the cabinet
that was last
ministers.
weekend, yeah.
And perhaps that was part of the whole discussion. We don't know. We rarely do we know what happens.
There are always people who are willing to speak, and we just have to tap into our sources to get some information.
Well, you sound like one who's well connected. Why don't you give us the skinny?
No, well, I don't. We'll have to tap into. That's how we make it by, Lisa. We are journalists. We dig. We pry. We peep.
You get a shower
we
now
poke.
and then.
Yeah, of course, we get the doors slammed in our faces and stuff. But that's just how it is. That is just par for the course when it comes to our work. Let's go to the Public Service Ministry and the press conference conducted by Jimmy Fletcher. I want to commend him first of all for an initiative that I saw posted on Facebook, the SLAPS page, where he has freed up parking spots.
11 spots.
Now, I was happy about that, but I'm still very annoyed because I believe that these public servants should be put in the car park. You understand? When people come to transact business, they should not be driving all over the place looking for, and they say, oh, well, the car park is there. No. If I'm coming to transact business at an organization, at an agency, they should provide parking for me to transact business. And I've always advocated for that to happen. A lot of these, the minister can be there, the prime minister who's in that building, the ministers can be given parking, and even at the back as well. You understand? Not at the front.
But it's full all the way around.
And everybody has their number plate and their name on the spot. Everybody owns a spot.
And the public.
On public domain.
Because let's face it, you are stationed there for the day.
Exactly.
Hopefully. And as a member of the public
Let's not even
coming to transact business, I am in and out.
That's what it is. And what I have advocated or proposed, and I put that as a comment as well, 1 hour and 2 hour parking. Yeah. So that, you know, after that time, you know, we start towing people, get a lot somewhere, so that you have an impound yard.
That's a wonderful idea, because you know
and get some money as a result.
Because within that 1 hour, 2 hour parking thing, that is pressure for the public servants and the agencies.
Right, to quicken up the pace.
To quicken.
But what has happened as well, Lisa, is that this has spread to the streets.
Yes.
You drive on the streets and everywhere is yellow lined, reserved for, reserved for, no parking. This is annoying and you cannot get parking anywhere. The city council should look into putting meters in the city so that you
is what
park,
I think
you
we
pay for
need.
your
Meter
parking,
maids.
and if they're longer than your monetary contribution allows, then you get a ticket. Simple. The industrialized countries do it. It's not that difficult, and I don't think that's something that, you know.
But that's
But
part of the
let's talk
whole
about the press conference. You know,
development plan.
that's just
So the
one.
press conference, which aspect? The fact that we're getting assistance from the Clinton Foundation of
The
climate.
juiciest part, because I missed the press
But
conference.
climate change is important.
Is climate change juicy?
But what do you mean? Wait till next hurricane season
And we sink.
and okay.
No, it's very
We don't even have
important.
to wait for the hurricane season,
I was just being facetious here, but I mean, climate change is very important,
It's an
especially
important issue. Don't listen to
especially for
Clinton.
St. Lucia. You know, listen to me. Here is what I'm saying. Climate change is very important, especially for small island developing states and states that do not have very many resources. Climate change is very important. Climate change affects us because we are in this hurricane belt. We're also in
Yeah,
the earthquake
coastal.
belt, and we are surrounded by water. So, boy, if anything were to happen that is beyond our capacity, our gooses are
Yes.
cooked.
Yes, it is.
So that's one aspect of it. What's the other aspect?
The other aspect the minister did address, because I believe on DBS television there was a news item speaking about sort of disquiet unrest at the Government Information Service / National Television Network, GIS-NTN. And apparently the staff feeling some form of discomfort because there are a number of appointments that have been made to the Government Information Department, and the minister did come forth and he indicated right away that he wasn't aware of unrest, but certainly that the appointments have been made in the persons of Kirby Allen, which we know has a consultancy there for about 5 or 6 months, and his job is to restructure the GIS-NTN to include Radio St. Lucia, to make that a more cohesive unit and have them work and interface and that sort of thing and making it more productive and so forth. And also, there's now the appointment of Earl Busquet. A contract has been awarded to Earl Busquet, or his
I didn't hear
contract
about
with
that.
government has been extended to include NTN, where he will be doing a television production of the nationwide supplement that you get in the paper nationwide. So this will now become a television. There'll be a television aspect to that.
My good friend
It's
Earl
supposed to
didn't
be-
tell me anything about that.
Right.
When he comes here the next time, I'll have to put some pressure
So
on
Earl
him.
can give you more information on that. It's supposed to be a weekly, but I think they failed to realize that producing something in television, really, it's a lot of work, especially something like nationwide. So the resources may have to be revisited and so forth, but I'm not here to give that kind of advice out to the
For free.
very apt people.
When you have so many consultants getting so much
And
money, right, Lisa?
Also Shelton Daniel, who the former news director at Radio St. Lucia, he was working in Antigua at Observer Radio. He's now back here in St. Lucia, and he'll be a talk show on Radio St. Lucia, mid-morning talk show. I think it's for like 90 minutes. It's called a 90 minutes for 90 minutes. And then he will be doing work with NTN, producing a nightly newscast. I think it is, if not a newscast, then a news program, because you know these are different, huh? And so he will be doing that.
What are we doing, Lisa? I mean, in the first place, NTN, GIS, and Radio St. Lucia are separate entities. NTN and GIS, that's one entity.
I don't think they're trying to merge it.
No, but then,
certainly
but
because
then
there are
you're going to,
that they're trying to make them collaborate more.
and I mean, everybody sees through what is happening, you know, and you have to be, you know, we're talking about the economy being tight and the appointments that have been made, okay, the appointments that have been made, and the way these appointments have been made. You know, so these are concerns, and I'm sure that these issues will continue to surface. I know that we're out of time, so, you know, we can't go into much detail about,
But you'll have Earl here next week?
Hopefully he'll be here very soon. No, next week. Next week, I think Jerry George should be coming along with us, and we can discuss that. When Earl comes back, of course, I'll give him a lot of pecan. Just before, though, first ever Commissioner's press conference, and I attended that one, and I found that it was conducted pretty well. The Commissioner said, you know, we're not here. These are our plans. I want to outline our plans. But I'm taking any questions. You could ask us about anything related to police, and you know, the reporters they spat out a number of questions on issues from crime to the structure of the force and leave.
And the welfare of police officers.
Yeah, and welfare of police officers as well. So I think that was a very commendable initiative by the Commissioner of Police, and he said that it will be quarterly. Did he say that?
So he's going to have a sort of town hall styled meeting or session.
Right.
Quarterly. It's called Meet the Commissioner. So he'll be going to the various communities, and I really urge St. Lucians to participate, because you know, if there's anything, we hate to go and sit down in a hall to discuss issues. We love to go there to have a Conjun Western dance or something, but nothing that really impacts our lives. So I really do hope that St. Lucians go out there and participate, and that's the forum for you to, if you're dissatisfied with a police service, tell him.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can fix it. I'm happy that they're trying to get a civilian adjudicator for the whole complaints unit. This, I think, is going to go a long way. I'm also happy about the polygraph testing. That's great. I do not like the fact that it's
psychological as well.
And psychological testing as well.
Which
that
is a new thing.
And they're also using the polygraph testing as by way of promotions for the police officers and so forth. All of that is great. My beef with that is, okay, so what? Somebody fails and nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, there's no legal backing.
In court, there's no legal backing to it. Okay, so it's just really a moral thing. It's just a moral thing.
But at least because the Commissioner makes the recommendations for promotions.
Yeah, he makes the recommendations for the promotion.
So he would know the results of these and say, okay,
because of that result,
yeah,
I am not going to promote you, but even then that opens up the battle.
Well,
a legal battle.
Well, he doesn't necessarily have to say this is why.
Because if an officer perceives that they're being kept down because of the results of something that's not admissible anywhere, then you have a problem.
But he has, this is a judgment call that he makes. If he wants to recommend,
judgment call, but if somebody believes that they are deliberately being targeted for something that has no legal footing, then you have a problem. And so that's my concern about this whole polygraph testing thing. Much like your concern with the lawyer. Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about that. Lissa, as always, it is so nice to have you. You must come here more often. Yes, I will say it. Great. She'll be here more often. Well, on behalf of our entire team and Lissa Joseph, I'm Clinton Reynolds, inviting you to join us again next week at the same time for another Press Club, where we break down the news, we analyze it, and we give our little 2 cents on what the developments are for the past week. Before that, join me on Wednesday next week for another Newsmaker Live program, 8:30 p.m. only on DBS. Bye for now.